Hello everyone, it's David again. We are in Babylon 5, Season 4, Episode 15, No Surrender, No Retreat. It starts off on September 2nd, 2261. You'll notice there's lots of martial music, and people are now walking with a big determination. They are bound and determined to get Clark off the throne of the Earth Alliance come hell or high water. They want the League defense treaties declared null and void. And Jakar is happy to oblige. He said, look, when the shadows were crawling down our backs, where was the Earth Alliance? They were nowhere to be found. And so they did nothing for us. We owe them nothing in return. It could have been how Hitler could have played, the Axis powers, because he had a mutual defense treaty with Japan, but Japan attacked the United States. He was not obliged to declare war on the United States, which would have put the U.S. in a very difficult position of, we got to get rid of Hitler, but Hitler technically hasn't declared war on us. Do we declare war? But as we all know, within a few days of Pearl Harbor, Hitler declared war against the United States. So, of course, the Europe First policy came in to fruition. At any rate, back to Babylon 5. Clark's anti-alien hysteria is hurting the aliens on Earth. And it kind of reminds me of China's recent anti-foreigner stance. Kicking out foreigners for no reason. Shutting down a lot of, the foreigners that were let in were because they taught English or German or French. And they've all but shut down the private schools. And instead they just want Xi Jinping thought, I guess is the new one. Instead of Mao Zedong thought, now they have Xi Jinping thought taught in the schools, and they don't want these pesky foreigners drilling bad ideas into their kids' head. So they have now sent, and of course American companies, South Korean, Japanese companies are all fleeing China in massive groves now. So their anti-foreign hysteria has now cost them a huge amount of foreign direct investment, as well as a lot of ill will, because we all know where it's coming from. And the same thing with Clark. Everybody knows Clark, with this anti-alien hysteria, is whipping everybody up back at home. And we cue the entrance to the episode. Sheridan gets some intel on Proxima 3, which is close to having to surrender. They've been under siege for a long time, and they're about food and ammunition and things that you need to run a rebellion. Sheridan wants the telepaths in cryogenic freeze ready for an operation soon. And for those who haven't seen it before, I'll save you a little bit of grief in not telling you now, but for those who have seen this episode before, we all know why. Pretty controversial too, if you ask me, but Veer ends up spilling the beans on the campaign to Michael Garibaldi, who doesn't react well to the news. Londo goes to Jakar's quarters. He wants to issue a joint statement, but Jakar, at this point in time, refuses. He wants to have nothing to do with the Centauri in any way, shape, or form, especially Londo. Which, of course, who can blame him? Poor dude's missing an eye and all kinds of other torture he had to endure. Sheridan briefs the pilots, and the White Star 2 is painted with a Babylon 5 logo, so that they know which White Star to fire at to kill the head of the resistance, I guess. To me, it seems kind of crazy. We go in, and their forces are lining up for and against Proxima 3, and they go back and forth. Especially with one of Sheridan's academy instructors happened to be there. And they go through the age-old question, do you follow an illegal order? And for those in the military, I'd like to get your opinion down below. I'd be really interested to hear it. But the question is, do we fire, or do we, sorry, I'm getting two things mixed up at once here. do you obey an illegal order? And we came close in the United States just recently to finding that out. There were some whispers that Donald Trump might have tried to cling on to power even though he lost the November election. And a lot of people, I guess there was something like 279, this number stuck in my head, generals and admirals and everybody, basically what they were going to do is just, resign en masse until January 20th arrived. Biden takes the oath of office and can restore some sanity to the government. Now, fortunately, we didn't have to find that out, but we were, I guess, very, very close to having to find out that issue. Ends up fire at will. I repeat, fire at will. And why are we always firing at will? What did he do to anybody? Why can't we fire at Jim or fire at Mark or, fire at Betty sometime? We're always firing at will. Never understood that. Sheridan, after the battle, meets up with the captains of the defeated forces on Proxima 3 to get who's going to join the cause and who's just a survivor. Okay? Jakar later agrees to sign Lando's statement in support of Sheridan, but not on the same page, and it ends with Michael Garibaldi leaving for Mars, and when asked, when are you going to return, he says, never. So, at any rate, lots to talk about. One of the most recurring themes of Babylon 5. Do you follow an illegal order? Put your thoughts down below. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. See you next episode.